Public relations, a strategic communication process that builds mutually beneficial relationships between clubs, their members, and the public. The PR for Success is designed to help you do that with impact and towards excellence. One masterclass a month, each focused on a different aspect of public relations and geared towards immediate implementation of skills, with a WhatsApp group that provides a supportive space. Some of the things that you will learn are the power of the Toastmasters brand and effective use of the PR toolkit. What about designing ads that wow, and creating and implementing a social media plan with effective use of the media? The PR for Success program, designed for VPPRs but open to all members and designed to help you take your PR skills to the next level. Are you ready? This is PR for Success, and Masterclass 2 is underway. Thank you, Meryl and Dr. Benjamin, for an inspiring opening. We have a bumper evening this evening, so I am going to rush through my welcome. But first, both our facilitators will be using the whiteboard, so we're going to do a quick, fun whiteboard exercise. As soon as Anka turns the whiteboard on, I'd like you to think about that one word that will describe what it means to be part of the Toastmasters family. And then, in order to use the whiteboard, I'd like to invite you to take your mouse to view options and then click on annotate. And then you'll see your text button come up, and then you can just type in whatever that word is that means something to you of being part of the Toastmasters family. I suppose you could use your fingers as well, but it needs to be a bit more legible. There's that T with the text, that works better. So I would go with that. And I'd just like you to all to be really comfortable telling me what it means to you to be part of the Toastmasters family, so that when our two facilitators start using it, we can just go through that quickly. Okay, another maybe 20 seconds to just help you find your way, and then we can close this. Right, I'm reading personal growth, community, thankful, awesome, family, encouragement, being free, an amazing feeling, good feelings. And public relations skills, don't forget that one, please. Okay. Anka, I think you can close that. Thank you very much for that. Before I introduce you to our two facilitators, I'd first like to call upon our program champion, Maud Nale, who has a few things to share with us as always. Maud, over to you.
And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they say there. That song, Toastmasters, perfectly encapsulates the ethos of this program. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. It's so lovely to see so many of you here tonight. PR for Success is designed to empower for maximum impact, so that you too can say, like the song, hey, all I do is win, 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 no matter what. I'm really excited about today's masterclass because in order for you to win no matter what, you've got a plan to win, Toastmasters. And so we're going to be discussing planning for success. They say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, but not on our watch, District 74. Tonight, we're going to show you how to put together a plan so that you can succeed and ultimately win. And then, who's your customer? Did you say everyone? They say if you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. So tonight, you're going to find out exactly who your customer is and how to create content that speaks to them. Let's get started with today's masterclass. Back to you, Zakia.
Thank you, Maud. Thank you. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you our first facilitator, Netsai Bingepinge from Benoni Toastmasters. Netsai has extensive experience in public relations in the corporate and tourism world, and today she is going to switch her video on right now, and she's going to share with us how we plan for success. Please help me welcome Netsai Bingepinge.
Hello, hello. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters. I am so excited to be here. In fact, I am super excited to be here with all this that has been happening already. I am really excited, and I hope you guys are also equally excited. And I hope by now you've already grabbed that favorite drink of yours, be it a cup of coffee or tea or juice, whatever it is that makes you feel comfortable. Please go ahead and grab that and be as comfortable as possible as we take you through this training session. And I also hope that by now you have locked away your cats, your dogs, your husbands and wives, and even babies. I'm just playing. On a more serious note, I'm really hoping that as we begin this year, our VPPRs will start with a bang and make things happen in our clubs and take our clubs from the current levels to the next higher levels. And after this training session, I'm also hoping that when you go back, you're going to implement some exciting ideas and activities that you would have learned from today's lesson so that the clubs can benefit. All right, so having said that, let's get to the meat of our training. I will share my screen. All right, I hope you can all see my screen.
Affirmative.
Okay, all right. So the purpose of this training is for you to understand what a public relations plan is and why it is important. And the next thing is for you to know how to develop a public relations plan, how to build a public relations action plan, and how to track performance and review a public relations plan. All right, so these are the key things that I'm hoping by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to do going forward. So I'll stop sharing for now because I have a question for you. We'll draw out the whiteboard. My question is, what is your understanding of a public relations plan? I want to know from you, what is your understanding of a public relations plan? Just like we did in the exercise, let's write what's coming to you. Short sentences, what you think, 2-3 words. Just write what you feel. Yes, more admin, goals and objectives, plan how to engage, plan social events, promote Toastmasters, yes, let them come through, plan for the year for PR. Wow, that's good. A way to keep committed, how to create exposure for your club. Wow, that is powerful. Communication, promote meetings. Wow, wow. The ones that are using the pen are struggling. Know what you need. It is a plan for public relations, vision to succeed, plan to build relationships, client, and know how to reach them. Yeah, that is very key. Exposing club, promote awareness. Wow, I love this. I love this. Wow, how to create exposure of your club. Wow, thank you so much. You may stop sharing now. You may stop sharing now. Wow. Madam Zoom Master, you can clear the, wow. I'm quite happy that we all have an understanding of what a public relations plan is. Wow, that is amazing. And I know some of you have been asking and wondering, what's the big deal about this public relations plan? Because we kept on asking, do you have a plan? Do you have a plan? From all corners, we kept on asking if clubs had a public relations plan. And to answer that, yes, it is so important that you have this plan. I really wish I was making this up, but this is reality. This is the tool that is going to take you from where you are right now to where you want to be. So yes, you do need that public relations plan. And if you notice, last year, we didn't achieve some of our goals, some of the things that we had said we wanted to achieve. And if you look at it closely, it probably is because we didn't have a plan. We never had activities or steps that we took to achieve those goals. Hence, our goals remained but dreams. If we don't have a plan, our goals will remain but dreams. All right. So now let's get to the proper definition of what a public relations plan is. All right. Okay, so a public relations plan, it is a strategy that defines how you want to communicate your value proposition to your target market. So this plan answers to the question how. It's practical, it's action oriented. It shows how you're going to do things, how you're going to promote Toastmasters, and how you're going to create that awareness that you were talking about, how you're going to manage those perceptions that you were writing about on the whiteboard. So this plan will help you to show how you're going to disseminate all that information to your public and to your communities in general, all right? And target market there is generally defined as the area or sector in which you are planning to operate. Your target market, this is the group of people that you want to attract to join Toastmasters. So this is the target market that you intend to have your messages sent to. This is the audience that has to receive your messages. All right. And now we want to look at what constitutes a public relations plan. All right. Most people would start with a general overview. Of course, they may start with the background, talking about the political environment, economic environment that they are operating in, the challenges that they are experiencing, and how the plan will help them achieve their goals. That is all and good. And some even go on to the extent of doing SWOT analysis, cost-benefit analysis, and all those things. But hey, for the purposes of this training and Toastmasters, will focus on the core things. So these are the following core things that we expect to see in a plan. First, you need to tell us what you want to achieve. From your plan, we should see what is it that you want to achieve this year. What are your objectives? And your objectives, we expect them to be SMART. We use the acronym SMART, and I know most of you also use it, where S stands for specific, M, measurable, A, achievable, R, realistic, and T for time-bound. All right. Say, for example, I've always wanted to lose weight, and it's always been on the cards since I think like 2008, something like that. So for my goal to be specific, I can say to lose 20 kgs weight by 30 December 2020. That way, my goal is specific, it's measurable because you can measure 20 kgs, you can tell whether I'm making progress or not. And also it's time bound because I also indicated that I want to complete this by 30 December 2020. However, is it achievable and realistic given my history and background that I've been trying to lose weight for the past 12 years? So I may need to tone it down a bit from 20 kgs to maybe 10 kgs or even 15 kgs maximum. That sounds achievable and realistic too. So we expect the same when you're doing your objectives at the clubs. Make sure that you have the capacity to or tools to achieve those objectives when you make them. All right. And the next thing that should come out clearly is who you want to reach. Your plans should show that who is your audience, who is your intended target market, because you're not speaking to everyone like Maud said. You have to specify who you want to attract to join Toastmasters. You cannot be speaking to those high school girls, those 16-year-olds at the nearest school. No, after all, they don't qualify anyway. So you need to identify the market that you want to join Toastmasters and make it clear in the plan that these are the people we are targeting, all right? And then the next thing that needs to be clear is what tools you're going to use. These are the various platforms that you're going to use. Is it going to be Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter? Is it going to be the website, WhatsApp groups, emails? All those things should be clear what tools you're going to use and for what activity, all right? Then the next important thing is who is responsible and for what activity. This is so important. I can never overemphasize this one because when we know who is responsible, we know that there's someone doing the back office, running around, posting things and all those things. But if there's no one allocated to do certain tasks, it becomes some events will not even happen because Peter will be thinking Jane is doing it, and Jane will be thinking Sophia is doing it. And in the end, some of the projects are not done. All right, so we need to know who is responsible. And for most of our public relations activities, the vice president of public relations is the key person and the owner of most of the activities. All right. And then the next thing that should come out clearly, and this goes for all plans in general. If you have a plan and you don't have timeframes, it ceases to have meaning. You need to have timeframes. We should know by when certain activities should be completed. Timeframes will help us to know whether we are making progress or we are not, and whether we are likely to meet our targets. So these are the 5 key things that should come out in a plan. You may have all these other glossy, glamorous things, fancy things, but if this is not coming out, then it ceases to be a comprehensive plan. All right. Now, the next thing that we want to look at, now that we know what a plan is and the key elements that should be in a plan, we're going to look at the benefits of a public relations plan. Because some of you may be asking, what's in it for us? Why this big deal of this public relations? So the first thing that you benefit is you become more proactive, not reactive. You engage your audience in advance and you don't do random posts about oncoming events and activities, and your audience will have enough time to digest and to plan and attend. You know why this is so important? When we sent the survey to delegates, 40% of the people said that they post their notice of the next meeting on the day of the meeting or 1 or 2 days before the meeting. I said to myself, Seriously? I mean, hey, this is not fair. This is not fair for our club members. You need this audience that we want to attract to join Toastmasters. It also needs time to digest and plan and make room for them to attend that meeting. They also have other things that they are doing in their lives. They are not just sitting there waiting for you to post your next meeting. So give them time. I appreciate some who say they post a week before. It's fair. It sounds reasonable. It gives time people to plan and then serve that day for Toastmasters. But the ideal situation would be soon after your meeting, you post for the next meeting. And after a week, you post again to remind people of the next meeting. So it's like 2 weeks before, and then after a week, you post again. That would be the ideal situation. But those who are posting a week before, it's fair, we can work with that. But those who are posting on the day of the meeting and 1 to 2 days before the meeting are those ones we cannot do it. We can't work like that. It's really unfair on behalf on our club members. All right. The next thing that you benefit is it makes an individual punctual and disciplined. One is able to meet deadlines by sticking to allocated times for specific tasks. And timeframes will help you track if you are on track or if you are going to achieve the task or not. If you don't put timeframes, one can never tell when the events are supposed to be completed. All right. And then it also helps to build membership. A well-developed plan will help create awareness of our service offering to the public and attract new members. You will notice that when more and more people get to know about Toastmasters, the more people join our meetings and the greater the chances of us converting those guests to members. So the more people know about Toastmasters, the more chances of us getting new members, all right? And the last thing that it benefits us, you gain public recognition and manage perceptions. When people can access information easily about our clubs, the whole world will get to know about Toastmasters. I don't know if you have ever been to a place and you've told them that you belong to a Toastmasters club and the people are shaking their heads, tweaking one eye, trying to figure out what Toastmasters is all about and what sort of bread you toast. So when you encounter such experiences, it means that you really need to pull up your socks and advertise and make sure that you promote Toastmasters in that particular community, because it means that people don't know about Toastmasters. They think you're toasting bread or something. So you really need to be aggressive and make a lot of noise for you to be recognized, because people who are always talking about Toastmasters, promoting it on various platforms, this enables people to know and recognize us easily. All right. So now we know why it is important for us to have this public relations plan, and we know what it is. The next thing that we now need to do is to develop the public relations plan. We have tried to make it as simple as possible because people try to make it sound so sophisticated. I've just finished my strategic document and it sounds so like strategic and sophisticated, but we've tried to make it as simple as possible. So step 1, research and understand your target audience. Efforts aimed at getting more information and understanding your target audience can never be in vain. When you research about your audience, this will help you to understand your target market's needs. When you take time to understand your target market, you understand what they care about the most, what they spend most of their time doing, what they like and not like. And if the target market is your existing members, you get to know about their objectives and expectations and the reasons why they joined Toastmasters. That is so important, and I can never overemphasize that. When you understand why your club members join Toastmasters, you are able to tailor-make solutions to satisfy those needs. It's like when you're in a relationship, if a guy is ticking all the right boxes, certainly the lady will not leave that gentleman because he's doing living according to expectations. Same applies in our club. If you're not ticking the right boxes with regards to people's objectives, then people will leave the club. So you need to know the reasons why people join Toastmasters, and you tailor-make solutions to address those needs. And when you take time to study your audience, this will also help you to communicate effectively to the right people and using the right communication channels. But if you don't know what they are using, then you won't know how to communicate with them. All right. And in our community clubs, this audience is usually divided into two categories. That is the internal audience and the external audience. Community clubs are the regular clubs where most of us belong. Like I also belong to a community club, but others belong to other corporate, university. Some even have restrictions. All right, but I do belong to a community club called Benoni. So my internal audience would be, my audience would be internal and external. All right. Let's first look at the internal audience. These are the people who are already members, the existing Toastmasters. You need to have activities to retain these existing members. It does not make sense or economic sense at all if you're going to be going all out looking for new members and gaining 2 members in 1 month and also losing 6 members at the same time. It does not make sense at all. So you have to balance the two. You also need to have activities that you do to maintain your existing membership base, and you also have activities to attract new ones. All right. So for community clubs, the external audience include existing club members and club officers. And now we look at the external audience. These are the people you want to do business with who are not within Toastmasters Club. This is the pool of potential members, which is still out there. We haven't yet, they are not yet members. They are still out there. We are trying to attract them to join Toastmasters. So you also need activities tailor-made and aimed at attract this target market of ours that would have defined in the first place to join Toastmasters. All right. So now we know our audience. And also we have amongst us corporate clubs. These ones need to abide by company guidelines. You need to understand your audience, whether the audience in this particular group, this would be your colleagues. You may need to understand their levels, whether they are managers, because these are your colleagues. Are they managers? Are they ordinary staff members? Are they non-managers? So you need to understand this audience so that you know which tools to use when communicating with them for corporate clubs. And for corporate clubs, you may also want to make use of your company corporate affairs department to promote Toastmasters. Ask them if you're not already doing that, because most companies, because the fact that they agreed to have Toastmasters, it probably means that they will entertain you promoting Toastmasters, maybe in the corporate newsletters or through the intranet or any other emails or groups, maybe WhatsApp groups for staff and all that. So find out from them, but I'm sure most of the companies would allow you to promote Toastmasters using the various channels that the company has. We also have university clubs. Again, you need to understand your audience. For example, what level they are. Are they first year? Are they second year? Are they third year? Or are they lecturers? Find out, learn more about them so that you know how to communicate with them and the reasons why they joined Toastmasters in the first place. So when you research more about your people, you develop appropriate tools to communicate with them. It is so important. You can only know what tools to use when you understand what they spend most of their time doing, which gadgets they use the most. For university clubs, maybe they are always on Instagram and all those latest trendy platforms. So use those because that's where they're spending most of their time using. All right. So now that you're now aware of your audience and you now understand them and you have researched about them, you have all the information that you need, the next thing that you do is to compile a media list. These are the communication tools and platforms that you will use to reach your audience. For example, news media. You can use newspapers, television, and radio to reach your audience. Corporate newsletters, internal mails, staff WhatsApp groups for corporate clubs, internal newsletters for club, community clubs, websites, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. The list is endless. There are a number of platforms that you can use to communicate your message to the intended target market. All right. So remember to post your messages on time using these platforms, please, especially about the next meeting, to give the audience time to plan. It is so important, and I can never overemphasize that, because our meetings are our biggest asset, our biggest tool to attract new members. When people come to our meetings, chances are they may want to join. So if we don't really post these on time, they are not likely to come. All right. Now that we have our media list, the next step that we do is to form a PR committee, public relations committee. You will need the support of a dedicated team, PR committee, to help you to gather information from members and brainstorm ideas on the things you want to achieve this year. I know some of you can do it alone. It's fine if you can do a good job. But if you feel it can be overwhelming, and indeed, this position can really be overwhelming, so you may need one more, two more people to help you. And I'll show you why you may need that. The functions of this public relations committee. This committee will help you in formulating PR goals for the club and ensure that they are aligned to the overall club goals. All right. And this committee can also meet regularly to review and implement planned projects for the year. So you have people helping you to chase up events. This one does this task, the other does another. So you have people helping you. And this committee will also help you collect information from members and club officers. And here you make use of the Vice President of Education, because right now, this is the time that the Vice President of Education is busy collecting information, objectives from members, where they see themselves at the end of the year, their path, educational path, all that information. The Vice President of Education will be having that. And I know in my club at Bononi, she's already doing that, getting the members' objectives, getting to know them better, compiling profiles for this year, and so that she knows what people want to achieve this coming year. So you don't need to do it yourself. Get that information from the Vice President of Education and you develop your plans. All right. Then the next thing that this committee will do, it will also help you allocate tasks. For example, you can have one person handling social media activities, you can have the second person handling press releases, and the third person can be managing the website. Whatever it is, it depends with how you want to allocate. Or maybe you don't necessarily allocate, but as and when things come, maybe you need help, you are busy at work, but you need to have a press release and you want someone to develop the content, then you give a task to someone else to do that on your behalf and go and do the press release. So it relieves pressure on you, hence the recommendation that you need a PR committee. All right. Now that you have your committee, the next step now is for you to define and set clear goals. With your committee, you narrow down all those things, all that information that you'd have brainstormed and set clear goals. And some of the goals that a club can have include to hold a club open house. Okay, a club open house is where you do a big campaign about a certain meeting that you're going to have. You even put posters, you post all over Facebook, Instagram, all the platforms, and you do it way in advance, maybe a month before the meeting. And on that particular day of the meeting, the content of the speeches that are going to be presented on that day would be of the highest standard ever. And even the way the meeting is administered would be like top class, first class even. So that it encourages guests to want to join after seeing such amazing performance. They would want to join Toastmasters, right? And a club can decide they want to create a web page for their club. Some can decide they want to hold a social event for their club members. And some can decide they want to launch a monthly newsletter where they'll be updating members of what is happening in Toastmasters, in their districts, in their divisions. And they can also take the opportunity to spotlight members and their progress in Toastmasters. All right. Then the next objective can be to create advertising materials. It can be what you want to do this year, that you want to create as much materials as possible, posters, flyers, pamphlets. That can be one of the objectives. Some clubs may want to organize speechcraft courses. I'm not too sure whether a lot of clubs are doing it, but I know for a fact that Benoni and Raconteurs are doing it. And I've actually attended one, and which was very well organized by Ian Bratt. If you don't know how to organize one, you can refer to him. He is always ready to help Toastmasters. All right. So when you are doing this, setting these goals and objectives, we encourage that you have a consultative approach or a participatory approach. This makes members feel involved and creates a sense of ownership. And this consultation will ensure objectives are aligned to the overall club objectives, and it becomes comprehensive. All right, because you don't want people to think that this is your plan. It was all in your mind. It's the things that you want to see happening. You want members to feel involved and to feel part of the plan. So involve them as much as possible. All right. And now the last stage that you would need to do in developing your plan is to now create the action plan, the public relations action plan. And I've put here a sample of how it should look like. You can see this club here. This is the first page where it's having the activities tailor-made to suit the internal audience, which is the existing club members. And it has columns: objective audience, communication method, date, percentage of completion, honor, and the tasks that need to be done. So this is for the internal audience. This club, as you can see, is going to do a social event, and it's targeted at all members. And it's going to use the following communication methods: email to all members, club Facebook page, and it's going to put also on WhatsApp groups. And the date is, they are going to do this by 15 November 2020. It's not yet complete, so it's 0%. If it was 75% complete, you'd write 75 or 80%, 90%, whatever the percentage is. And then the owner of this task is the VPPR. So like I said, the VPPR is going to be the key person in most of the objectives. He's going to be doing the running around the back, behind the scenes activities. So for this social event, he's going to update the email listing, organize the venue, and all those logistical things that need to be done for the event to be successful. All right, so this is the next one, club newsletter. So you can then be tabulating your goals like that. There can be 4 or 5 activities that you want to do to maintain your existing membership base. And then the next sheet, usually it's always on Excel. So your next spreadsheet will be showing what you are going to do for your external audience. And for this club, they are going to hold an open house, the one that we have talked about, and it's targeted at the audience is external audience, and they are going to do a news release. They're also going to use Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn to promote this open house. And they are also going to put it on website. They're going to do this by 30 August 2020. So everything should be timed. We should have timeframes like we discussed earlier. And then it's 0%, it's not yet complete. If it was complete, we would put 100%. And then the owner, the responsible person is the VPPR. And those are the activities that this club is going to do. All right, so it's best to keep this on your Excel spreadsheet so that it's easy to update. You can be typing in and updating it as a live document, and other people can always also log in and help you to check progress. So the benefits of this action plan will be, it's aligned to Toastmasters communication plan. If for those of you who didn't know that Toastmasters has a communication plan, this format is aligned to Toastmasters communication plan, and it provides uniformity. It helps you update the committee on planned future events in advance. It allows club officers to review it and help you follow up events. And it can be shared as a live document as it is easy to update. It is a comprehensive plan and with all the key elements that we have discussed earlier. All right. And now I'm going to circulate the detailed Excel spreadsheet to all the members. Because we are running out of time, I will not share it here. I will make sure I circulate it to you all so that you know what it looks like and how easy it is to just be updating, punching in your objectives and tasks and who is responsible and the various platforms that you're going to be using. All right. And then now that your plan is complete, you now need to be able to track the plan. Once the plan is done, get the approval of the club committee and share it with the rest of the club members and start implementing. You don't necessarily have to share the whole plan with the club members. You just need to share the calendar of events with the club members. And then the PR committee, like we discussed earlier, can meet regularly to review ongoing projects, the activities that you would have lined up. You can sit as a team and discuss and map way forward. All right. And then the best place to track this plan, the best place to track progress of the plan is during club executive meetings, where you'll be updating the committee and advising them on progress made. So that is the best place to track performance of the plan. And you need to continuously update the committee on planned future events in advance, not a day or two before the activities. All right. And then finally, you now need to check whether you are getting the expected outcomes with regards to your efforts that you are putting in, whether it's really giving you value. So I've put together some leads that you can use to check whether your efforts are really making an impact. So the first thing that you can look at lead acquisition and conversion to members. So all those leads that you'll be getting from various platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those leads that you'll be getting, you need to check how many of those converted to members, or first, how many came as guests and then eventually converted to members. All right. And then referral traffic from website, you use that to see how many of those people who made inquiries through your website eventually joined the meetings and subsequently converted to members. All right. And then the next thing, number of guests attending meetings. If you're really posted on time, the number of people who come shows that, yes, who attend as guests shows that, yes, the message really got to the people and got to the people on time. Even if they don't convert to members, but that figure will tell you that, yes, your message is getting to the right people and at the right time. All right. And additional media inquiries. After a press release, for example, I know in Benoni, we've recently posted introducing our new executive committee in the Benoni City Times. So after such a press release, there may be inquiries, people wanting to know more, because in that press release, the president clearly explained the benefits of being a Toastmaster. We took the opportunity to use that to tell people what they can benefit if they were to join Toastmaster. So there may be a number of inquiries after such a press release. So yes, we encourage you to do that. Take the opportunity each time to do such press releases and get inquiries and possibly have these people coming in as guests and possibly converting to members. All right. Attendance numbers at workshops or events. Again, if you're going to hold educational workshops or events and you have invited people, the number of people that attend is an indicator that yes, you are really making an impact and the efforts that you are making are good and people are really receiving your messages. And then the last thing, if you look at your Facebook page growth, or engagement, the number of followers, for example, on Facebook, the likes, the views, when you post something and people are viewing it, even on Instagram, the number of views can tell you that, yes, you are really making an impact. And as the page grows, followers growing, it really shows that, yes, you are really promoting Toastmasters to the world. All right. All right. So we have come to the end of this training, this particular session. I hope by now you have now understood what a public relations plan, because I've tried to demystify it and explained it in the simplest manner possible so that it's not so scary and sophisticated. And I hope you now know how to develop one and how to track it. And I also hope that those of you who didn't have a public relations plan, you're going to come up with one and develop one for the benefit of your members. And if you experience any challenges, feel free to communicate with me. I'll also be sending my email so that you know how to get in touch with me. And for those of you who have the plan already in place, just go back and have a look at it again and see if it has all the key elements of a plan, because you might have missed out key things that should be in a plan. And if it doesn't have an action plan, it should have an action plan, because that is the core of a plan. An action plan is a summary or a snapshot of all the things that you're going to do throughout the year. And I also hope that after this meeting, you're going to implement all those interesting ideas that I have shared with you. So for now, I'll hand you back over to Zakia. Keep watching.
Thank you, Netsai. Thank you so much. So, Netsai, when you research more about your people, you develop appropriate tools to communicate with them. That was so powerful. It's made me rethink my whole role as PR, VP PR last year. I thought I was really a hot VP PR, but I'm revising that now. So thank you so much for that. When we know about our people, we can communicate with them. So how do we get to know, and where do we communicate? And there's so many tools. So what is the next step? And that is where our next facilitator, John Peter Garnat, comes in. He is president, past club president, past area director, past division director, past public relations manager for District 74, and he's convened a District 74 conference. And today he's sharing with us, if you can, John, if you can just switch your camera on in the meantime while I'm just mentioning a few more things about you. I just want, today John is sharing with us those secrets of digital marketing, of strategies, of copywriting that speaks to the people we've identified. Fellow Toastmasters, I present to you John Peter Gelnaerts.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you.
Right, isn't that just it? Everybody's looking for something. We're going to be covering quite a lot this evening in terms of digital marketing, and I want to give you some good news. There is no need to take notes. At the end of this presentation, I will make the slide deck available to you in the WhatsApp group. So only write down things that come to your mind that you find useful. Let's jump straight in, and let me share my screen. And there we go. We're going to open the whiteboard, and I would like to know from you, as in a sentence or a word, what you consider to be marketing. If we can open the whiteboard.
Are you able to see the whiteboard? It's up.
Yes, indeed, it's up. What is marketing? Selling ideas, paid advertising, information, selling ideas, brand awareness, go-to-market, Facebook, persuasion, I like that, a profession, good, promoting, understanding needs, I really like that. Promoting consumers' needs, absolutely. Right, thank you very much, Madam Zoom Master. We can close that and go straight back to sharing the screen. Let's look at some official definitions of marketing. The first we'll look at is Peter Drucker. The aim of marketing is to know and understand your customers so well that the product or service fits him or her and sells itself. It's about knowing and understanding the customer so that you can offer them a product or service that fits the customer or the prospect and sells itself. So marketing has got nothing to do with selling. The Marketing Insider Group puts it slightly differently. At a fundamental level, marketing is the process of understanding your customer and building and maintaining relationships with them. Up until now, we've been speaking a lot about public relations. So I'd like to put up the definition that Toastmasters International offers for public relations. And in terms of what Toastmasters International says, public relations is about informing. And what public relations is very good at is building brand recognition. Brand recognition is very important. If I say to you the word Coca-Cola, what immediate reaction do you have? You can taste it in your mouth. You can see the red color. You can see the shape of the bottle. You can feel the tingling on your tongue. You can hear the can or the bottle opening. Coca-Cola is so well known as a brand that the moment you hear the words, it brings up reactions in you. Public relations in terms of Toastmasters should be so prolific that when somebody mentions Toastmasters, everybody immediately knows what it's about. But public relations doesn't necessarily sell the brand, sell or bring new members to your club. Here is the difference between public relations and marketing. On the left is a piece of public relations that went out for an event last week, Saturday. What it tells you is what the event was, when the event was taking place, and where it was taking place. On the left is a piece of marketing that I prepared as a Facebook advert for a new club. If you see leaders take the stage with confidence and you wish you could do as well, click like. So I'm connecting with my prospect, who is in this case a gentleman, somebody who's well established in their career, needs to share their information on stage, but does not have confidence. And I ask for action. I ask them to click like. So what is the difference between public relations and marketing? Public relations is about, this is who we are, this is what we do. Marketing is about solving a problem, a challenge, or a pain point, and asking for action. So public relations is about promoting ourselves. Marketing is about connecting with the prospect. Digital marketing is using digital platforms to connect with prospects, and we'll cover that. And what is the reason for doing it? We want to increase club membership. So let me share with you what we'll be covering this evening. Firstly, I want to cover a little bit of marketing strategy, particularly to find out who you're speaking to, who is your target audience. Then I want to look at how you're going to speak to them. That's copywriting. So I want to give you an understanding of what copywriting is. And then some 101 of copywriting. And then finally, I want to look at where we can find our prospects. And that's where we'll look specifically at social media. So let's start with marketing strategy. You've already heard it this evening. Meredith Hill said, if you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. And that, to my mind, is generally the problem with public relations. It attempts to speak to everyone. I'd like to share a quick story with you. You're walking up to the coffee station at work, and there's somebody standing there. What would you normally say? Something like, hey, what's up? What does the other person say? The person says, I'm preparing a presentation. If you were a public relations person, you might say to the person, hey, why don't you come along to our Toastmasters club? We meet on the second and fourth Monday of every month at 5 o'clock in the evening, etc., 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 blah, blah, blah. But that's not how people communicate. Marketing is a personal relationship that you're building up. So what would a normal person say? A normal person would say something like, looking at the person, say, you look rather worried. Yes, I am worried, the other person says. So what exactly are you worried about? And then the other person starts to explain, and you listen, and what do you hear? Lack of structure, lots of information that they want to share. So you say to the person, hold on a moment, tell me, what is your message? What is the takeout that you want your audience to remember when they leave your presentation? You get the essential message from them, you help them develop a structure, you find out from them the stories and anecdotes that help to develop that message, you reassure them that you don't have to give a lot of information. Isn't that the way that human beings would communicate with each other? Now what has happened is you've created an opening. Now you could say to the other person, what I've just helped you with, I learned through the presentation program in my Toastmasters club and the help of other members. But I've only just scratched the surface with you. There's so much more that you can learn, and you could become a whiz at presentations. tell you what, why don't you meet me here at 10 to 5 on Monday and we can go together. I'd love you to meet the people who are helping me. So now I'm connecting with the person. I'm not asking them to join the club. I'm not asking them to join the meeting. I've given them something. I've given them some advice that has helped them with their presentation. And I'm inviting them to meet the people who've helped me. Very different approach than public relations. So let's have a look at how we establish what your target market could be. Let's start with you. You were once a prospect. Why did you join Toastmasters? Now, hopefully you do have a piece of paper and a pen with you. Write down why you joined Toastmasters. Just a word, a phrase. Now, if you haven't written down why you joined Toastmasters in terms of a problem that you were trying to solve in your life, rephrase it. Write the reason why you joined Toastmasters in terms of a problem that you were trying to solve. And once you've written that down, what was it in the Toastmasters program or the club environment that solved your particular problem? I'm going to start off and I'm going to share my story. I joined Toastmasters after I'd left the corporate world, and I knew that I had to present my new business to get prospective clients. What I learned through Toastmasters is that stories and anecdotes are easier to relate to than facts and information, but most importantly, I learned the importance of a clear message that either motivates or inspires. So what was my challenge? I needed new clients for my business. What were my solutions? I learned to develop a clear message and the importance of connecting through stories and anecdotes. This is something that I don't know if anybody ever told me while I was in the corporate world. If they did, I certainly didn't listen to it. Now, after you've written down why you joined Toastmasters, what the problem was and how it was resolved, write down what changed in your life as a result of that problem being solved and what benefits have you had. I'm now going to share the platform with two other Toastmasters, and I'm going to ask them to tell their story. I'm going to call up firstly Tim Knights, if he would switch on his camera so that the Zoom master can bring him up. Tim is a DTM and a past district governor. He is over the age of 60. He's been a Toastmaster for more than 20 years, and he's a chemical engineer. Tim, if you're there, would you like to tell us your story?
Apologies, Tim. I'm just giving you the right to unmute yourself quickly.
Yes, I believe I'm
There we go.
unmuted now. Yes, believe it or not, about 35 years ago, I went through my midlife crisis. I'd been an engineer all of my career, and I was wondering, had I done the right thing? Was it really what I wanted to do? And at the back of my mind was computer programming. I loved it. The little bit I'd done was absolutely fabulous. And so I decided to go into IT, information technology, and hoping to be able to do computer programming. But no, computer programming is for a specialist. My job was to market the systems that the department, the IT department, was putting together. And so, okay, let me try. I made presentations. They were a disaster. My boss said to me, if you want to continue in this department, you better get your presentation skills up, else you won't survive. Oh, he could have said I'd be fired, but he was more polite. At the same time, I happened to be in Florida Library, and there was a brochure, Florida Toastmasters, come and learn how to present. Ooh, sounds good. So I went, and I've been with them ever since. And what they gave me first was what was called a CNL manual. And most of you, as Communication and Leadership Manual. Most of you will know that, recognize it, but under the heading CC Manual, Competent Communicator Manual. And that manual was absolutely brilliant, taught me so much. And I then was able to make presentations. And after a while, real pleasure came back to me because my boss joined Toastmasters and I had the huge pleasure of evaluating him. But I've moved on from that now. Now I do environmental consulting, and there, explaining to a company the impacts their factory is having on the environment made my presentation skills extremely useful. So that's how it came about.
Thank you very much, Tim. Now I want to call on Rob Douglas. Rob Douglas is also a DTM, a past district governor. He's also over the age of 60. He's also been a Toastmaster for more than 25 years. So these two gentlemen have quite a lot in common. He's also a chemical engineer. Rob, if you could unmute yourself and if you could tell us your story.
Good evening, everybody, and apologies for the fact that I've got no video this evening. My story starts at school, where I think my worst nightmare was being asked to speak in class, or even worse, being asked to read out loud in class. So when it came to the working world, I knew that sooner or later this was going to catch up with me. So I then joined Toastmasters in anticipation. And sure enough, it did catch up with me, but fortunately by then I'd been a Toastmaster for a while, so I could take it in my stride. And what Toastmasters has done for me is that I know if I am called upon to speak, whatever it may be, whatever situation it may be, I can handle it. I know how to prepare. And I won't lose any sleep over it. So that's my story in a nutshell.
Thank you very much, Rob. How is this going to benefit us? Is my screen still being shared?
Yes, sir.
Right. We now want to try and determine who your club's ideal target market is. And again, this quote from Meredith Hill, if you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. We've now heard my story, we've heard Tim's story, we've heard Rob's story. The first thing I suggest you do as Vice President Public Relations is, or together with your Vice President membership, is find out why each member of your club joined, in terms of what problem they were trying to solve in their life and how Toastmasters was able to resolve that problem for them. Now sit down with your exco and have a look at the various types of problems that you'd encountered. Now you'll have seen, I needed to learn to present. Tim needed to learn how to present. Rob also felt that he needed to learn the skills of presentation. So the challenges between the three of us are all fairly similar. Now sit down with your Vice President Education and have a look at the paths that the members of your club are on. Why? We're all new to pathways. If you're going to offer mentorship to a prospective member, be sure that there is somebody in your club who's already ahead of them on the particular path that they might choose. So what do we have now? We have a list of the types of challenges that the members in your club have been able to solve through the Toastmasters program. We have a list of pathways that people are on. So now start having a look at what types of prospects your club could best serve. And from that list, choose an ideal prospect. What I'm going to do with you, or for you, is I'm going to share a spreadsheet with you. And I've made a video, 20-minute video, that explains that spreadsheet in depth. That spreadsheet allows you to profile your ideal prospect in order that you get to know them, speak their language, understand their problems, and be able to offer them a solution that you know that you can deliver on. So this particular spreadsheet goes into a lot of depth, and I don't have the time to cover it this evening. You'll find out some of the you'll specify the demographics of your ideal prospect. You'll have a look at what goals they're trying to achieve in their life, what's valuable to them in their life. You're going to have a look at what challenges they're encountering in their life, and because of those challenges, what pain points they want to overcome. Then you're going to have a look at where you would start to find these prospects. And here what you're going to look at is what kind of books they're reading. Now let's take a look at Tim Knight, for example. He is now, although he's a chemical engineer, is now interested in effluent chemistry. Rob, on the other hand, Rob Douglas, spent his career in the petroleum industry. They're both chemical engineers, but you would find them online in very different places in terms of groups that they might be joining, conferences that they might be attending, conversations that they might be engaged in online. So we're going to go and look in depth at your ideal prospect. That's why I'd suggest that the club only chooses one prospect, ideal prospect, or maybe two if you want a male prospect and a female prospect. And once you developed and started using one profile and it's brought you a lot of new members, develop a second profile. You're also going to have a look then at what objections your prospect might have. And then finally, what will change in their life as a result of overcoming the challenge, the pain point, or achieving the goal that they're trying to reach, for which you have identified them as an ideal prospect. Once you have done all of this, you will know who that prospect is in great detail, be able to speak their language as if you were standing with them at the coffee machine, at work, having a casual conversation with them. You'll speak their language that clearly. Understand their problems so well that you know what solution you're going to offer them. Toastmasters is not the solution. You're going to offer them something specific like presentation skills, leadership, something specific. The challenges that they want to are things that they need to overcome. Pain points are things that they're feeling right now because they live with those challenges. You're going to sort out and understand their objections so that you're going to resolve those objections in what you write and say to them so that they can use those to rationalize their decision. And as I've said a couple of times, Toastmasters is not what you're marketing to your prospect. You're going to find something specific to market. Right. So now we've figured out who we're speaking to. Now let's understand how we speak to them. This is called copywriting. Anything you write is called copy in terms of marketing. Copywriting is the cornerstone of all marketing, and the purpose is to get some kind of action from your prospect. And it determines how many new members you're going to get for your club. So you are going to be speaking to a person as if you were speaking to them at the coffee station. You're going to focus on their challenges their pain points in such a way that they're going to experience an emotional connection between what they are feeling and what you are saying. And when they experience that emotional connection, there's a good chance they'll become a Toastmaster. So that is the essence of what copywriting is. Now let's understand a little bit about the sales process. Firstly, Frank Kern says, people hate to be sold. Don't you just hate those telephone calls where a salesperson wants to sell you insurance? The truth is, people love to buy. And something else to bear in mind, people buy for emotional and not logical reasons. Think of the last pair of shoes you bought. Think about the new mobile phone that you upgraded to. Were they really necessary? Or was it an emotional decision that you made? And then you rationalized the reason with your rational brain. If you can overcome the objections and you workshop the objections that your potential prospect, your ideal prospect might have, you can help them to rationalize the decision that they make to become a Toastmaster. So what we're trying to do is to understand the challenges and pain points of our prospect so well that they can experience an emotional connection between what they are feeling and what we are saying, and then help them become a Toastmaster. So good copy helps to solve a problem or achieve a goal, and importantly, it asks for action. So if you've written something to somebody and there isn't an obvious, logical next step for them to make a commitment, to take action, then please go back through what you've written and try and find where the gap is that prevents them from taking immediate action. Let's have a look at it again at the copy that I wrote. If you see leaders take the stage with confidence and you wish you could as well, click like. So I've positioned this copy towards males who are well established in their career. I know that they lack confidence. I know that they have a lot of information that they wish or are being asked to present, and they're scared. They wish they could stand up like leaders. And all I'm asking them is to click like. They click like on Facebook. I know their profile. I can have a look to find their telephone number, their email address. All of this like button is connected to my Facebook page, which means if I'm going to use paid marketing, I could market directly to them because they've liked my page. They don't ever have to visit my page. Two reasons why marketing fails. I'm going to tell you another story. A person, and I'm going to be non-sexist, walks into a bar, looks up and down the bar counter, picks on somebody, walks up to them and says, "Do you want to marry me?" Please quickly write in the comments box what you think the response would be. And I can't see the comments box.
We've got hell no, no, you joking, who are you? An obvious no.
Exactly. That's what the reaction is. And that's what most marketing does, is it proposes marriage before it's even built a relationship. So what we're wanting to do with copywriting is to build a relationship. There is another good reason why marketing fails. It's a particularly South African reason. We fail to ask for a commitment. It was the last meeting of June. I was club president. We had 9 out of 10 DCP points, but we only had 19 members. That meant that we were not going to get those DCP points. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, speak to other members of your committee to understand what I'm saying. So we needed another member. We had guests at that meeting. At the end of the meeting, I asked the guests how they enjoyed the meeting. I got a positive reaction from each one of the guests. I banged the gavel, I picked up a membership form, I walked up to a guest, I inquired again. You said you enjoyed the meeting. A guest said yes. I said, would you like to become a member? And I handed them a membership form. Are you doing that in your club? Are you asking for a commitment from your guests or from prospects that you meet online? Or are you assuming that they know that they have to make a decision? A lot of our marketing fails to ask for a commitment. So what is the essence of good copy? Firstly, it grabs the attention, because on social media, your prospect is looking at photographs and things that are of interest, and they're not going to look at something that you've written unless you can grab their attention, either with an image or with a headline. You want to identify their problem so well, and this is through the research you're going to do, and so that you can position something within the Toastmasters environment as a solution and show them that this that you're offering is better than anything else, and then ask for action. Let's have a quick look at some copy. This is not Toastmasters copy. Maybe some of you know or use Evernote. It's a program that allows you to save bits of information. The headline, feel organized without the effort. Who does it speak to? Anybody who's feeling disorganized. Anybody who's feeling overwhelmed by the effort that's required by the pile of stuff that's piling up. Then it says, Evernote helps you to capture and prioritize ideas, projects, to-do lists, so that nothing falls through the cracks. I find things online so often that I want to remember, and I save it somewhere, and then when I go looking for it, I can't find it. It's fallen through the cracks. This copy speaks to me, and it says sign up for free. Immediately asking and removing all the objections that I could possibly have, because it's for free. Here is another piece of good copy from a company called Drip. I haven't investigated them. I don't know exactly what they do, but let's look at the copy. It starts off with social proof. What used to take 12 hours now takes 0. The headline, how Byte Squad doubled email opening rates and saved 12 hours a week. Doubled production and saved 12 hours. That should grab anybody's attention who's in business and is struggling, particularly with email opening rates. And they're offering a no pressure demonstration, just learn more. So they're removing the obstacles in this copy. They're offering no pressure demonstrations. They're not offering a marriage proposal at all. They're saying, come and build a relationship with us. So here's 2 examples of good copy. So let's get into some of the basics of good copywriting. Let's have a look at the 101 of good copy. Firstly, we need to understand the difference between the features and the benefits of what we are offering, because it's the benefits that count, not the features. What's this? You can write in the chat, but I'll start describing the features of this thing. It's a yellow pencil. It's cylindrical. It has 6 sides. It's got a graphite core. It writes and it's got an eraser. Those are features. My response? So what? Who cares? What are the benefits of a yellow pencil? Well, it's yellow. I can find it easily on my cluttered desk. So what? Well, if I can find that pencil easily, it gives me more time to be creative. So what are the benefits of a yellow pencil? I can find it easily on my desk and save time to be creative. It's got nothing to do with the features of the pencil other than the yellow color. It offers me a benefit. So let's look at something closer to home. What are the features of this organization? Toastmasters. They hold meetings. They have an agenda. We have prepared speeches, evaluations, table topics. We learn how to run meetings. Those are all features. What are the benefits of Toastmasters? And if you think very carefully, a lot of the PR that we write around features, not around benefits. What are the benefits of Toastmasters? Well, my benefit was that I got more clients to my business. You see, this benefit has absolutely nothing to do with Toastmasters. Toastmasters is not even mentioned, but that was the benefit that I received from Toastmasters. So let's have a look. Here's some good copy. Do you need more clients for your business? Do you think that your presentation skills suck? I solved that problem and learned so many leadership skills that my business is flourishing. Social proof. I am proof that I've solved this problem. Not only have I solved the problem, I've learned a lot more, and I could be your mentor. This is not an online course that I'm selling. There, I'm offering them my mentorship through a problem that I've already solved, and all they've got to do is message me. So I'm not proposing marriage. I'm just saying message me and we can start building a relationship. Good copy creates the fear of missing out. You're going to use words like you, your, limited time offer, free. Let's have a look. Is your job dependent on your presentation skills? My boss said my job was on the line. So I know how you feel. I'm making an emotional connection between how I feel and the problem, or with the problem that the prospect's feeling. You can learn these skills quickly when you understand the key elements of an unforgettable presentation. Wow, there are key elements to an unforgettable presentation. That's what I need to learn. Then I can learn the rest. We can help 3 people right now. Limited time, very specific. Come and join us right now. Enter your address for a free discussion or free consultation, whatever you want to put there. It's free. Not proposing marriage, but I am telling them that there's a limited offer. They must react quickly, and let's build this relationship. Remove risk for your client or your prospect. How can we do that? Here's an example. You can also become a great presenter. That's one of the risks that most people think. He can do it, but there's no way I could do that. I could never become a great presenter. Yes, you could also become a great presenter. We've turned shy people into confident presenters for over 95 years. Social proof. We've been doing it for a long time. You are never alone. Wow. We have mentors ready to help you every step of the way free of charge. Once you remember, the mentorship doesn't cost you anything. Removing all risk, it's free of charge. So enter your email address here and we can start building that relationship. We've spoken quite a lot about social proof. Social proof is proving through somebody else's story that this works. Here is another piece of social proof. Standard Bank selects the best young leaders from its graduate program through their achievements in the self-paced dynamic leadership path. Self-paced leaders need to be able to manage their own time. Standard Bank, one of the top 4 banks in South Africa. Social proof. If they are doing it, why aren't we? Understand what is unique about what you're offering. What's your unique selling point or your unique selling proposition? Why is Toastmasters, what you're offering it within the Toastmasters environment, better or the only thing that'll help your prospects solve their problems? For me, it's the fact that we do it ourselves. So here's some good copy. Our training material has a 95-year pedigree. Our mentors have walked the path. Remember what I said about selecting your ideal prospect? You should be able to offer them a mentor who has walked the path. You learn by presenting and receiving pertinent, helpful suggestions every step of the way. So you're being accompanied by a mentor. Nowhere else will you find this dedication to your success. It's a big boast, but I believe that this is absolutely what we do. There's nowhere else where you can find a 95-year pedigree, a mentor who's walked the path and will walk it with you every step of the way. How are we unique or fundamentally better than anything else? Well, here's an example. 2 world champions of public speaking will guide your success. Nowhere else is this level of input available at the cost of basic membership. I've learned from 2 world champions of public speaking. Many of our members have been to conferences where they've learned from world champions of public speaking. I've even paid money to go and learn from the world champions of public speaking. I now have that knowledge. So do a lot of other DTMs who can share it with the prospect. This is not an idle boast. It is true. We have that knowledge already if we've been listening at conferences. So when you are writing copy, you're offering something that'll solve a problem, and you want something in return. The most important thing that you want in return from your prospect is a contact detail. So what you're going to give them, the offer you make should solve a problem. Go and have a look on the Toastmasters website and see, based on the profile that you create for your ideal prospect, whether there is something in the Toastmasters shop that you can offer. If there isn't, find a DTM and ask them to create something for you. How about this? The 5 best kept secrets of an unforgettable presentation. Here's a free checklist. Just give me your email. Yes, I want that checklist. Click the button. And a DTM could write for you a 1-page white paper that lists the 5 key aspects, the 5 key secrets to a good presentation. And all you want is them to give you in return. So you're offering something of value, and in return you want an email address so that you can contact them and start building that relationship with them. So copywriting must fulfill an actual need. It's important that you understand the profile of your ideal prospect. Offer something of enough value so that you get their contact information. Solve an immediate problem for them. That would be the best thing. Like that white paper, solves an immediate problem for somebody. And it shouldn't cost your club any money. Now I want to take a step back quickly to marketing strategy. I'm not going to open the whiteboard as I wanted to, because I think we are going to start running shorter time. So I want to condense this a little bit. Why is follow-up so important? And I've been mentioning it throughout this presentation. We're not offering marriage before we've built a relationship. So what we want to do with follow-up is start building a relationship with the prospect we found online or with the guest who comes to our club. And we want to build a relationship around what we've offered them in terms of their goals, or relieving their challenges, or easing their pain points. Around those, we want to keep a relationship going. And most importantly, Madam Zoom Master, I'm not going to ask you to open up the polls that we've set up, and I'm sorry about that. I want to keep this within the time schedule. But think about this, to everybody listening. Do you follow up with your guests? Just say yes or no to yourself. How many of your guests become members? A quarter? Half? 3/4? More than 3/4? And more importantly, how quickly do you follow up with your guest? At the meeting? The next day? Within 2 days? Or, as we've seen in the survey that was taken, most people only communicate with their guests by putting up the next program the day before the next meeting. So for 2 weeks, there's no communication. If you do not follow up with your guest or your prospect within 24 hours and at maximum 48 hours, all the effort that you've gone to begin this relationship has gone to waste. You're already losing them. 24 hours. How do you follow up with them? Phone them. The good old-fashioned telephone. Have a verbal conversation with them. Oh, you can even use WhatsApp these days. Then put them into a WhatsApp group. But once you've got them into the WhatsApp group, you're going to have to talk to them. Give them valuable content around their challenge, their pain point, or their goal, at least every second day, if not every day, between meetings. If you've got hold of them on Facebook, use Messenger to keep a conversation going with them. Use emails. Set up an automated sequence of emails that engages with your prospect, because you've profiled your prospect. You know what you want to address with them. So use an automated email service such as MailChimp or MailerLite, and if you don't know them, go and do some research. They're free and they're slightly different. So now we've covered who we're speaking to, how we're speaking to them, and now let's have a look at where we're going to find them. Community clubs who have the option of using online platforms, we're going to be discussing social media. Corporate clubs, you don't, in all probability, have the option to use online platforms that are outside of the corporate environment. What you need to be looking for is where you can find your ideal prospect among groups of people that have a challenge. It might be the conference teams within the company, the meeting coordinators who need to set up agendas and understand how agendas are properly set up. It could be project teams where you know that there are challenges that you are being solved for your members in your club. But as we're speaking today about digital marketing and online marketing, let's have a look at social media. The most popular is Facebook. Facebook owns Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp, and Instagram. WhatsApp is a social media platform where you are speaking directly to somebody else and you know who you're speaking to. And you know that they will receive the message. There are over 1 billion daily active users in 180 countries. Messenger is only slightly less used, and you'll get all these statistics to look at in the pack that I'm giving you, the slide deck. Facebook itself, 8 out of 10 adults are on Facebook. Not only that, every adult who's on Facebook has on average 155 friends. And 3/4, 3 out of 4 people, all people who are on Facebook earn a very good salary. That's where your ideal prospect is hanging out. So you just need to figure out how to engage with them, and we'll talk about that. In South Africa, there are 23 million users. LinkedIn is a more professional platform. It has 310 million active users, of whom 87 million are millennials. Those are very likely a key target market of ours. And 70% of all users are outside of the US of A. That's good news for us. 50% of all graduates have a profile on LinkedIn. And there are 10 million C-level executives milling around on LinkedIn, just waiting for a conversation. But there is bad news around social media, and that is their algorithm. Most clubs have a Facebook page. At the end of each meeting, you as the VPPR probably have taken a lot of photographs at your club meeting and you paste them on your Facebook page. And you expect people to see those images. The sad news is it's unlikely that anybody's going to see them. And here's the reason. I post a photograph of myself with a dog on my Facebook profile. The algorithm looks at my 155 friends and picks 7, maximum 8 of my friends and sends who have already in the past reacted to dog photographs and sends them my post with a dog photograph and looks to see how relevant my post is to those friends, because the Facebook algorithm is all about relevance to the community that you're trying to connect with. If those 7 or 8 friends like, love, lol, wow, care about that post and write a comment within 24 hours, the algorithm says, oh, that post has relevance, and slowly start sharing it with more and more of my friends, looking each time to see if there are reactions or comments and to see if it's relevant. If the friends share it to their own wall or to a friend, it becomes more relevant. The photographs that you're posting on your Facebook page, depending on how many people have liked your page, 2 or 3 people will see that photograph. If they don't immediately react, that post is dead in the water and nobody's going to see it unless they go and search on your Facebook page. That is the bad news about social media, is the algorithm that they use to decide who's going to see your post. But the good news is that all those people who are your ideal prospects are milling around in groups that are relevant to something that you've identified in the profile that you've drawn up. They're sitting on pages. They're interested in conferences. So there are places where you can engage in conversations in the comment section with your ideal prospect. And that's again why I'm saying it's best that there is somebody in your club who can relate to the ideal prospect so that they can go into these groups, pages, blog sites, discussion sites, and enter into conversation with your ideal prospect, remembering that when you're writing copy, there should always be a next logical step, which is an action step towards becoming a member. There are 2 forms of marketing on social media, paid and unpaid. Unpaid is what we've been discussing up until now, and it requires work. It requires that you go and find where your prospect is hanging out, because they're not going to come and look for you. So you've got to find them and enter into a conversation with them and start building a relationship. Paid advertising requires highly specialized skills and knowledge. Before I started learning about digital marketing, I paid several $1,000s to boost posts in the hope that it would gain me some traction, and it didn't. Don't waste your money boosting posts. You need really specialized knowledge to know how to use the paid marketing that the social media platforms offer. We're coming to the end. What do you do next? Please remember the difference between PR and marketing. PR is about promoting the brand, promoting yourself and your club. Marketing is about connecting with a prospect and solving a problem. You want to understand your target market because you can't speak to everybody. How do you understand your target market? Start by profiling your members, then your club, then deciding on who your ideal prospect for your club is. It isn't everybody. Most clubs, when you ask them, who's your ideal member, they say, anybody. It isn't. Profile them properly. Then profile that ideal prospect so that you can speak to them in their language, find out where they're hanging out on social media, in the online world, and market directly to them, making sure that there is always a next logical step for them to sign in. And finally, then please do add everything you've decided to your PR plan that we've been speaking about in the first hour. If you forget, you're not going to track your marketing strategy. And then finally, build a relationship and maintain a relationship with your prospect together with your vice president membership. Build and maintain the relationship. Fellow Toastmasters, that's what I wanted to share with you this evening on digital marketing. I hand back to our Toastmaster for the evening.
Thank you, John. Okay, so if I get this right, okay, while I'm talking, can I ask everybody to just switch their cameras on quickly so we can take some pics, because if you don't have a photo, you weren't here. So features and benefits. A feature of completing the attendance register is that you then get the presentations and the spreadsheets. Does that work, features, John?
No, that's the benefit.
Benefits. That's what I meant.
Name appears.
Benefits. Right, that's what I meant. Benefits. You see, multitasking is not my thing. Okay, so while we're talking, we're going to take some photos, and Maud has something to say because I am aware of the time. I just want to let you all know that we'll answer all your questions in the WhatsApp group. If you're not there, you need to be there. A benefit of joining the WhatsApp group is you get to hear the responses to the questions. Benefits, right, John? Okay, I'm learning. Okay, great. Anka, are you taking photos?
Yes,
We have to smile. There's like 8 screens. So you have to smile through the whole thing, right?
Let's take one last one, so everybody smile.
Smile, smile, smile. Fix my hair. Maud, you can go in the meantime.
Okay, go.
Maud doesn't want to talk to you all. Okay, while Maud is still unmuting herself, I can just say a few more things.
Sorry, Toastmasters, I struggled to unmute myself, but now I finally am. It was a lot of information, but remember, we want to set you up for success so that all you can say is, I win, 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 no matter what. We're going to bring digital marketing again as a second masterclass or as a follow-up masterclass later on in the program. So please stay tuned to it. We're recording this session. We'll hopefully repackage it and send it to you as soon as it's done, and we will share the presentations with you. We're also going to put a post in the Facebook group about today. Please hop on over as soon as it's posted and tell us about your experience today. What is the one thing that you learned that you will implement at your club? Because remember, Toastmasters, these ideas will mean nothing if you don't bring them to life. And the only way that you can bring them to life is if you implement. I've thoroughly enjoyed today's session. It was bumper, but it was so much value for money. Back to you, Zakia.
Thank you, Maud. Okay, I really, really need to thank quite a few people because this evening takes literally a month's work. So first to Meryl and to Dr. Benjamin Wayo for coming and inspiring us. Definitely to Netsai and John Peter. Wow, that was just amazing. To Frank Suro, as always, for being our production support, even though today he was in the back cutting the umbilical cord, so Anka and I had to run with it. And so big thank you to Anka Stowe, our Zoom master, who did a sterling job, and to all of you for arriving today and making this such a great session. So I realize it's 8 minutes and we're cutting into your time. And so we're going to cut out whatever else we had. And I just want to say thank you all for being here. If you fail to register, feel free to email me your name, surname, email address, and home club, or put it in the chat and I'll fill it in for you, okay? We've got a song coming, so at least listen to the song, everybody. 2 more slides and then the song.
Public
Next
relations.
slide.
Goes?
Skip that.
Yes, let's.
Here we go.
Why, this club is electrifying! Transforming! Mind-blowing! Why, it's Toastmasters! We found a place where people can go and take your fears away. It's just what they do, and they make you stand and pay for it too. With a manual as a guide and you're married at your side. No, they weren't kidding, you'll be speakers just you wait. Toastmasters. Toastmasters, you'll know how to speak in style.
Toastmasters, go, Toastmasters.
Go Toastmasters, you'll know how to listen and smile.
Toastmasters, go, Toastmasters.
Like a dream, you speak supreme. Toastmasters. Time to fix the lights with green, yellow, red, oh yeah. The art of the stick in your eyes and arms, oh yeah. With your mentor at your side to evaluate your pride, you know you only grow when your speaking skill and show it. Toastmasters. Go Toastmasters, you know how to speak in style.
Toastmasters, go, Toastmasters.
Go Toastmasters, you know how to listen and smile.
Toastmasters, go, Toastmasters.
Like a dream, you speak supreme. Toastmasters. Toastmasters, you know how to speak in style.
Toastmasters, go, Toastmasters.
Go Toastmasters, you know how to listen and smile.
Toastmasters, go, Toastmasters.
Like a dream, you speak supreme. Toastmasters. Masters, masters, masters.
Awesome.
You can close it all for all of us, Anka. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being part of our evening Toastmasters. We will gather again on the 19th of September for our next masterclass, which we will announce in due course. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a wonderful evening, and please be safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you to our organizers.